Now to this story in New York that's really spreading itself out across the country. This firestorm of controversy over a plan to build a $100 million mosque and Islamic community center around the corner from Ground Zero. Opponents demanding to know that who's putting up the money for the mosque and turning to the Landmarks Commission to try and stop it. The project not without high-profile supporters, including the mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg. More from him in a moment. Reaction we have seen is heated. Roll this.
It would be a travesty to permit this building to be removed. It would be like removing the sunken ships from Pearl Harbor to erect a memorial for the Japanese kamikazes killed in the attack.
And that is just a sample of what we're hearing in New York. The man who named the Freedom Tower, the gleaming skyscraper, now rising where the Twin Towers once stood, former New York State Governor George Pataki. Welcome back, Governor.
Good morning, Bill. Nice being with you.
Good idea or not?
I think it's a questionable idea. We're a tolerant society. No one has a problem with a mosque being built in New York if it's going to serve a community or serve the city. But first of all, the imam in charge has made some very inflammatory statements. He has said in part that the United States was to blame for September 11th. He's refused to denounce Hamas as a terrorist organization. And it's one thing to have a religious, cultural center or place of worship. It's another to have something that's looking to propagate Islamic jihad. I'm not confident about that.
How do we figure out a middle ground on this? Because supporters say, look, we have to show that we have American resilience.
Absolutely.
We're a free and open society, so let's figure out a way.
Free, open, and tolerant, but we can't be tolerant of those who are looking to take away freedoms or in any way supporting terrorism. And I think that's the question. Where's the money coming from? Is it coming from groups that have, for example, been engaged in the involvement with Israel, where we just saw the effort to break the blockade? Is it coming from foreign nations? Where are those funds coming from?
So you would support the push for an investigation?
I don't think we should approve this until we know it's going to be a legitimate religious center and not an example of Islamic really trying to impose their will at a very sacred site.
Our mayor says that government should keep out of religion. Is this the right example of
Government
that?
should keep out of religion, but religion should not engage in supporting terrorist activities. And we've seen Islamist terrorists, the consequences here in New York and in Washington. And I don't think we should have any support or allow them anywhere near Ground Zero. So we need an investigation.
You know, what makes sense to you as to why they would pick this particular location?
I don't know the answer to that. And Bill, this isn't just a community mosque. This is 13 stories high. So it raises grave questions in my mind. Who is behind this? Where is the money coming from? Particularly when you look at the comments of the imam in charge, who has been very anti-Western, anti-American. That has no place anywhere near
That
Ground
imam
Zero.
is Faisal Abdul Rauf. He's been in New York for years.
Yes, he has.
He's had a mosque in Lower Manhattan since 1983.
And he's made some very inflammatory comments, like one man's terrorist is another man's hero. I don't think any terrorist should be considered a hero, and certainly not by someone looking to build this major facility right near Ground Zero.
Just one more point on all this, and you think about the families of the victims, and you go down there every year on that day, as do I and so many others in our industry, and you see the sadness on the faces of countless thousands of people still struggling every hour of every day 9 years later. Is it the wrong time and the wrong place in your view, and will there be a right time and a right place?
Bill, those families are struggling today. 9 years later, they will be struggling to the day they die, because you don't replace a father or a daughter or a loved one. So I don't think near Ground Zero is any place for a symbol of Islamic ascendancy. Tolerance, yes. A house of worship, yes. But I'm not confident that that is what, in fact, they are looking
At
to do.
some point, at some day, is it the right time, though?
Well, no one can predict the future, but we're here today. And today, I think, unless we know more about the funding, the people involved, I don't think we should allow it to go forward.
I tell you, if you listen to some of these people who showed up the other night at the town hall meeting here in New York City, the opinions are strong. And
Understandably
you can tell the emotion on both sides, and this is a debate that will continue until a decision is made. We appreciate your coming in today, okay, Governor?
Thank you, Bill.
Always good to have you back here on America's Newsroom. Former Governor of
be
New
with
York
you.
State, George Pataki. Back over to Martha now.